A few marathons, and where we are right now at this point in time, over the weekend, a marathon is 42.2 kilometers, or 26.1 miles. You've only got 5 kilometers to go. Okay, we're getting very close to the finish line, so thank you for hanging in there. Okay, and that's so important. So today I want to talk and do a workshop and work with you on setting goals and overcoming obstacles to achieve outstanding results. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of preamble. We'll talk about why goals are important, what stops us from goal setting, and get ready, get set, goal. And today you've got a workbook in front of you. This is yours to keep, and if you would put your name at the top of the workbook and the date. Because after we spend the next couple hours, this is something you'll be taking away with you. And you'll be referring to it afterwards. And this is specifically for you. Now we can talk about, I know you're in the district tables, but today we're going to be doing some individual goals, but you'll see how you need a team to help you to achieve your goals. We cannot achieve these goals, whatever you want to do, by yourself. So this is a three-phase process of goal setting, goal execution, goal completion. And I'll just briefly go through the steps. The first one is whatever goal you set up and you decide to tackle today, what's the stretch? What's the gap between where you are now, from a skill set, from your background, to where you want to go? And we have to establish what that gap is. We need a point from where you start to a point to where you want to go. Planning, absolutely critical. What can you do to prepare to execute this goal? Support, who will support me? And we will be talking about either in Rotary, in your personal life or professional life, who is there to support you? And we'll be getting into that. And commitment, who will I share the goal with? And this is an interesting one because it can be pretty scary when you put a goal out there. And you put it out in the world and you say, I want to do this. So we'll be talking about that. Goal execution, so this is the doing of the goal. Measure, how will I measure my progress? And we talked about metrics during this weekend. How do we keep track of how we're doing? Are we ahead? Are we behind? So we'll talk about ways of doing that. Communicate, how will I let people know how I'm doing? So again, we talked earlier with Chris, with the Lego project, and we're doing it with asking the hard questions. How will I communicate with my peers, with other groups? How will I work that out? Obstacles, what might block me? Now, there's going to be things that happen when you take on your goal that it'll be coming out of the blue. But there are some things you can see ahead that you know that's going to be a problem. So look at ways of handling that. And chunking down, this is a technique I think that really is beneficial no matter what type of goal you take on, whether it's a Rotary goal, whether it's a personal or professional goal, of breaking things down. And again, I'll be talking about techniques that I use, and I'll be talking a little bit about running a marathon as an example. That will be a little sort of case study of that, but how to break things down into pieces that you can complete and then move on to the next one. And the third phase, which is very important. Sometimes we think, okay, get the goal done, that's the end of it, move on to the next goal. But it's important to reflect on what you've done. What happened? Was it successful? Were there challenges? Didn't it work out? The things you've got to think about. Celebration. I think a lot of times we get the goal over with and we move on to the next one. We have to celebrate. We have to celebrate what's been achieved for ourselves and for other people. So that's absolutely critical. And then what's next? What's the bigger goal? What am I looking at in the future? Sometimes you'll have a goal and it's part of a larger goal. And I think in Rotary there's many cases of that where you want to break it down and move from one piece to the next. So we'll be talking about that. Now, why set a goal? Well, when you need to build a house, we need to build a house. To build a life is even more important to have a plan or a goal. And that's Zig Ziglar, the author. So I'm going to go through just a couple of background pieces on why goals are important. Goals give you focus. And there's a picture here of three young hockey players, they're siblings. And they had a goal of achieving a Guinness World Record. And they wanted to be part of the biggest game of ice hockey ever. And in our town, that was one of the Guinness World Records that I set up, and they said, could they be part of it? And absolutely, there's no age limit on who could participate. And so they started the plan, they trained, and on the day they turned up, and they each played 10 minutes. So every player had to play 10 minutes, and in total we had 374 players, over 9 hours playing ice hockey. And we achieved the largest ice hockey game ever played. So these three youngsters, they were 8, 9, and 10, became Guinness World Records. So they achieved their goal, and it was just amazing to see how they were determined, their perseverance, and their focus on what had to be done. Goals allow you to measure progress, and so I think, as I say, we've talked about metrics, we've talked about how to keep track of what we're doing, both in a Rotary context and in a professional or personal context. There are a number of ways of measuring. Some are quite clear, it could be a numbers measure. Some of them are more measurement through journaling, through keeping track, through feelings. So it's not always strictly a numbers measurement, but look at ways of measuring how you're doing with your goal. Goals keep you locked in and undistracted, and there's so many things going on. We get pulled in all different directions, again, both in our Rotary clubs and in our regular world. Goals keep us focused on where we're headed. It's so important, and I think that's something that in our current day and age, we really need that. We really need to kind of clean off the stuff that's coming at us and stay focused on what we're trying to achieve. Goals help us overcome procrastination. Again, trust me, there's many times, I'd like to just, kick back, and I have to admit, I do like having a nap in the afternoons. That's a very powerful kind of pickup for me. But yeah, it stops us putting things off again and again. And so again, a goal, knowing where you want to go, you lay your plan out, very powerful. And goals give you motivation. And this is something that I think, as Rotarians, but also in our daily lives, it's amazing what a goal can do. And I know with the challenges, whether we call them goals or challenges or targets, when I look back at what I have tried to do working with different people, when I take on one of these fundraisers, I sort of look at it at a 50-50 chance of not succeeding. When you do a fundraiser, people like that kind of, willy won't-y kind of thing. But when I look back at what's been achieved, I'm surprised to see that it's sort of a 95% achievement. And one thing I will kind of share with you, and I'm sure many of you have found, is we can do way more than we think. And I think that's one thing as Rotarians, there's a lot of things we want to do. But if we take it on and we work through the process, we can achieve incredible results. And I know, listening yesterday to Stephanie when she talked about the action plan, we look at those 4 principles, those 4 areas. We've got engagement, we've got reach. Help me here 2 more. Impact. And adaptability. Okay. So these 4 are ones that I think, as we spend time talking about them, then we will find areas that we can really, really work on in those 4 areas. So, before we get into the goal that you are going to put down today, and you're going to be looking at addressing, what stops us from setting goals? And it's interesting that very few people actually write down goals. Actually kind of make a note of goals. And in fact, when it comes to New Year's resolutions, I've heard figures of 80% of people set them, but 6 months later, it's sort of 8 to 10% that actually keep doing them. So it really helps to write them down. Have your goal listed down. And the other thing that's important is to be specific. Now, we talk about SMART goals. We talk about being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Those are the ingredients. What you do need is a recipe to help you achieve those goals. And hopefully today I give you one example of a way of working through a goal and giving you a great opportunity to achieve that goal. Now have a look at the list. It's in your workbook, and this is just some of the potential reasons not to achieve your goal. Have a look at it. Maybe circle 3. Just kind of, this is for your own benefit. Look at 3 that you feel have an impact on you.
Martin, my apology for the interruption. Is there anyone who needs a workbook? Some will come in a little later. Hand up if you need a workbook. One over here.
We have spare workbooks.
So, yeah, Tracy will come around, and if you need a workbook, just let her know.
Great, thank you, Rob. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Martin.
So, have a look there. Just make a note, and if there's another reason why you struggle with achieving your goal, just make a note of it. And this is something for you to reflect on once we've gone through the process and as you move on to address the goal. So now's the time to take action and to look at a goal that you want to achieve. Now, whether this is a Rotary personal or professional goal, look at something that you would like to achieve in the next 6 months to a year. So we're talking now at the end of the first quarter of next year and the following 6 months. So this isn't a goal to be done in the next 3 weeks or 3 years. So think about that and think about either a Rotary, a personal or professional goal. And let's have some fun with this. So I don't want 300 increased memberships. Okay, well, that's great. But if there's something else that you think, boy, I really like, this is in the back of my mind, and I'd really like to do it, but I've never thought I could, or, I'm not sure if I could do that, then don't hesitate to share that. And within this room, we're sharing this with each other. And it's an opportunity to hear from each other and to learn from each other. So that's the question, what is the goal? But an even more important question is, why do you want to do that goal? And the reason is that when you have the goal and you start working on it, there'll be times when you're done. You've had enough of it. But if the why is strong enough, that will get you to overcome those challenges. So put some thought into the why. Why do you want to do that goal? It may be a personal reason, or it may be external, that you're trying to do something for somebody else. So we're going to move this along. It's going to be a little bit like a speed dating. So this is speed goal setting. So I'm going to give you just 2 minutes, okay? And whether you want to talk to your table or just look at it from a personal point of view, 2 minutes to write down what the goal is and why. Now, are there any questions? Okay, so 2 minutes starts now.
Mistake. I know. You join or Or something else. Or lose it. Who is this guy?
Okay, 2 minutes are up. So, I believe I have a couple of runners, mic runners. Well, do you have a couple of folks? Great. Bruce, you want? Okay. Are we ready to roll? Excellent. Okay. So let's get going. And who would like to put their goal forward and why? Okay. In the blue shirt. Thank you. Could you say your name and district, please?
So my name is David Humphries. I'm the District Public Image Chair for 7040. As most of you know, because I've had a lot of you in my groups this weekend and had a lot of praise from you guys, I have cerebral palsy. So something I spoke with my district governor nominee and mentor and both of my district people is I want to start a group for people that have disabilities and are low income, because there are people in Ottawa and in every city that have disabilities that we as people with disabilities, especially in Ontario, I don't know about the States, only get $730 a month. And a lot of clubs' fees for the year, or my club's fees for the year are $290, but I've made a deal with my club, so I'm good with that. But I want to start a club where it's, we look at your income and say, this is how we can help you. We want you in our club, because people with disabilities and people that are living in Ottawa community housing, Toronto community housing, do not have the money, but they have as much experience and as much of a drive to be in the community.
So David, I'll be jumping in and out here, okay? So, your goal, and you tell me if this is correct, is to start a group, correct? A club, okay, club, for individuals with disabilities, correct?
And low physical and low income.
And low income, right. Why do you want to do that?
Because if it wasn't for certain people, and some that are here, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here this weekend if it wasn't for my district, my governor nominee, and the people that I sit around this table with. Because as somebody on ODSP, I would not have had enough money to be here. But these amazing people in District 7040 made it so I could be here. And there are so many people, so many people that would want this conference. So I want to make a way so that they can be part of this amazing organization.
Now, you've written that down?
Oh yes, oh yes, I'm writing it down all weekend.
The reason I'm saying that is very powerful, that message you're sending, and that is something you'll be carrying with you as you progress to achieve your goal. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. This group, or this club, where is it going to be located?
So I live in Ottawa, but I do hybrid meetings with Ottawa South anyway, so I would make it a hybrid organization, so that, or a hybrid club, so that people from all over Canada and the US that have disabilities can be part of it.
So it would be hybrid, so there would be an element in Ottawa, correct?
Yeah, and then
with the hybrid piece outside, great. Yeah. Where in Ottawa would you, where would you
I would have to find a venue that is not expensive.
Okay.
And accessible, which isn't hard for me because I sit on the accessibility committee for the society.
I think, and again, I'm going to ask questions to make it more specific. But I think by explaining what you're looking for, right away we have a group here, and here is something you're looking for, correct?
Yeah.
And the answer is not within us, it is out there. So let's go with that goal for now, and we'll be continuing that as we work through the workshop, okay?
Okay.
Is that good? Over here, anyone put it? Yes, please go ahead. And we'll get A runner. So what's your name?
Maria.
Maria, yeah. Where's the mic? Oh, I need a mic.
Okay. I'm Harvey Bass. I'm the immediate past district governor of District 7815. Would you like to know my role?
Sorry, I can't see you. Where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, sorry, the lights.
Okay.
I don't know.
And my goal kind of fits in with what you just did, actually. I'm actually a vision care provider. So
Well, there we go.
I'll give you my card at the end.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. I left my glasses on the table. You caught me out. Anyway, that's great. So is it Harvey?
Harvey, yeah.
Great, I'll go that way.
So my goal, it's kind of a goal that's been set for a little while, but I'm working on a global grant in Ghana, and it's centered around vision care. A major cause of blindness in Ghana is cataracts, and it's one of the easiest things for not to cause blindness. So my goal is to set up a state-of-the-art vision care center in a city called Ho. And it's in collaboration with a teaching college, a teaching university, which means that we not only take care of the issues that are at hand, but we also can train new surgeons in new techniques to be able to rectify the issue a little quicker. But the grant itself is a process I've never been through before, and it still needs ways to go before it can actually be applied.
So Harvey, your goal, and we're looking at this 6 months to 1 year, do you feel that's realistic? Is possible?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically, the location of the facility is in Ghana. Is in Ghana, correct?
Yes.
But the goal with that time frame are you talking about doing the grant? Because to do the facility is another. Would that be another piece?
The grant. Hopefully, the grant can be finished, applied for, and we can start initiating the project.
Okay. How many patients will be potentially affected with this?
The initial goal would be 1,000 cataract surgeries for the first year.
Okay.
I'd actually done a needs assessment, set 245 patients, and the percentage of cataracts was astounding, going all the way back to the age of 22. So I know the community need, and the hospital itself is very excited about it.
So you've got some of the pieces already in place.
Yes. Yeah.
Why do you want to do this?
Well, it is my passion. I mean, Rotary is my passion, and so is my profession. But it was actually after the needs assessment that I met the people that needed help, and the one that it affected me the most was my very first patient, a 95-year-old, which is unique enough in Africa, who's been legally blind for 30 years just because he has cataracts. Like everything else is healthy. And so I really want him to be my first patient because he deserves to be able to see again before he dies.
That is again, that's an incredibly powerful why, as you go on your journey to do this. Not only is it an external feedback, because you're looking to help these other people, but you actually have somebody in mind, correct?
Yes.
And again, that's as we go through this, I'd like you to think about the picture that's being painted. And the key is to really have it ingrained in you. You want to have a vision of what's happening. Sorry, it's David, correct?
Yeah.
David, I can picture what you're talking about in terms of that group. And I literally mean a place where there would be the hybrid meeting. I think with Harvey's the same. You can picture what you want to do. Okay? Is it Maria? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, run, buddy. So this is marathon training.
We have one here, Martin, while we're doing that.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Maria Thompson from Hershey Rotary Club, and we're going to present with the idea this weekend about the importance of the endowment, and that I have been challenged and I'm ready to go. I would love to start an annual fundraiser with our club and our neighboring community, whereby the funds from the proceeds from that fundraiser go directly to both our club and the IRA endowment.
Okay, so let's dig into this. So you want to do a fundraiser, correct?
Yes.
What kind of fundraiser?
Doesn't matter, something that involves the community.
Okay. Is there something you have in mind? Is there something you...
Let's hypothetically say a large yard sale, craft show, bake sale that involves every organization in town.
Okay, so let's keep digging here. Let's go with the yard sale, the craft sale, which involves organizations, correct? In your town? Yeah, sure, well, let's build on this. So what organizations come to mind that may be able to participate?
Food Bank, Boy Scouts, our Cocoa Packs for the school lunches, Red Cross, the list goes on. A large medical community, Ronald McDonald House.
When would you hold it?
In the fall, probably, during Oktoberfest.
So that fits in exactly with the time frame of the goal that we talked about, the 6th, in the fall of next year, correct? Is kind of what you're thinking?
Unless I can fit it in this year, it's a little tight.
Yeah. Let's go with that for a minute. Now, so we're starting to build a picture. Why do you want to do this?
Because I believe that everyone should have a savings account, especially our Rotary clubs, in which case someday we'll be able to work off the interest of those funds, rather than constantly scrambling and saying we don't have enough money for projects, but there'll always be money not just on our club level, hopefully our district, and also the RI level. That's incredible.
And do you have a dollar figure in mind, just a rough kind of...
I've not said that. Depends on the scope, but the more I've done it.
Why don't we think of something? What might be a figure that you would, you know...
Okay, well, we might as well start small. Maybe, I don't know. $100,000.
$100,000, okay. So no pressure, but we've all heard it, okay? And I think the point is, whether it's $100,000 or whatever, it's you're starting to build a vision of what you want, correct? And even just today, did you come here thinking of having that goal?
Actually, my DGE.
Oh, I think it's kind of
I'm expounding on it.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was my idea.
Now, Maria, why do you want to do this?
Because I believe, like everybody, we love Rotary and we want it to grow and live on forever.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Thank you so much. That is good.
Martin, on your left at the back. On your left at the back. Here we are.
Okay, good. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, who are you?
Hello. My goal is to have
What's your name?
Sharna Hatcher from District 63. DGE, District 63. Happy to be here. So my goal is establishing an Emerging Leaders Initiative. And the reason for that is because I'd like to increase district-wide participation, bring new faces, new initiatives, through catching more fish in a broad net, if you will. And so when I think about why I want this, there are actually several reasons, but one of them is because I want people to serve in Rotary with enthusiasm and energy and not feel bogged down with having too many hats to wear. And I see that a lot, and I've seen that over time. And I really want people, Rotarians, to have an elevated Rotary experience, and that does not mean bogging people down and taking too much of what they have to offer. The other reason has to do with diversity. And I think it's really important that we think of, when people think of emerging leaders, sometimes they think of young leaders, but when I say emerging leaders, I really do mean age diversity and race diversity and diversity of thought, and there are a lot of different lenses by which we can approach that. But I think it makes our reach wider to the external community.
So, developing emerging leaders, correct? Is that your goal?
Yes.
Okay. Now we got to go specifics. What are your thoughts on how you're going to do this?
Asking for those who are interested to raise their hands.
Okay.
Asking club leaders to identify some who may be interested.
So you in your district, you would reach out to members in your district. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when they reply to say, I would love to be an emerging leader, what will happen? What is the format that you are thinking of helping them with that process?
We will have a meeting, right? And Bala and Collier, our PDGs, I really do think this is a really good opportunity to connect our PDGs who have a wealth of Rotary knowledge and experience with these emerging leaders. And I see them as mentors to the emerging leaders. They won't be the only ones, but I think that's a really good way to engage our PDGs.
And am I hearing somewhat of a mentor type process?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
And when do you see this starting?
It will start at the end of this year,
okay.
In some way. I think the asking begins.
And it's starting the end of this Rotary year?
Let's just say June of this Rotary year.
Okay. So now you've sort of got a timeline on when you want to start it, a process of reaching out to potential emerging leaders, and then you look at a facility or some way of having them gather, whether it's online or in person. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. And again, why did you want this with these emerging leaders? What impact is that going to have?
Their impact will be related really to gaining more of their experience and insight into what we do in the district. So they're learning, at the same time they're also contributing to what we do as leaders. So having co-chairs and having people who are helping them to understand how we do what we do in the district, but also be mindful of how important it is to listen to what they bring.
That's fantastic. And again, I think with these examples, that these goals that have been mentioned, we can build off this in other districts. This is something that I think, as a group here, when we talk about connecting, these examples are things that we can work with and take back in our own district. I'll do one more. Is anyone who wants to put up their hand? And yeah.
Back here. I got one back here.
Just pick one. Just yeah.
Joe Solway, District 7070. I don't know if anyone said this. I was putting stuff in my car, but mine is more of a personal goal that involves Rotary. I'm retired, and I spend a lot of time and a lot of energy on Rotary, which I love. But my goal is to find a balance between my Rotary life and my family, and I think that's something that a lot of us are looking to do. That's my goal.
And why, Joe? Sorry, I'm having trouble. Where are you?
Right in front of everyone.
Put the lights down.
The guy with the hat.
Yeah, with the hand.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. I do. Harvey, can you get me some glasses? Yeah, I certainly use those. Okay. Okay, Joe. So your goal is balance, right?
Yes.
It's balance between the Rotary work and the other work.
Yes.
Okay, why do you want the balance? Tell me why. What's the why here?
Why? Because somebody, I'm not going to get into the particulars, but somebody reached out to me last night and said, hey, when are you going to talk to me again? And it really hit home. He said, I know you're really busy, but when are you going to talk to me again? And geez, I feel like I'm in a therapy session here. but that seriously hit home. I'm totally committed to Rotary, and I love it, and it's kind of my life. But I realize that there are other things.
And I want to be clear. This is what you're saying is what a lot of us are thinking. So let's not. There's no apologies here. Okay. What you've heard today is a lot of what we're thinking. The whole issue of mental health and physical health. Globally, but also very specifically in our Rotary world, is absolutely critical. And I'll share with you, I struggled through COVID. We came through COVID. I don't think we're through the effects of COVID, especially from a mental health point of view. And I just want to jump back in with Joe, with your goal, because I want to. We have to make this tangible, because what you're saying is correct, but what can we do about it? So give me a thought of what you're going to do different, okay, in that next 6 months to a year time. Something specific. What are you thinking?
I have an idea.
Okay, yeah.
So one thing to be more mindful along those lines so that doesn't happen is I try to reach out to use the microphone.
Yeah, use the mic, please. Yeah.
I do my best to break that down because I have had friends tell me the same thing. So what I intentionally do at least once a day is reach out, whether it's text message, video message. Marco Polo is a great app for that, to keep in touch with them. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that app, but one person a day that I haven't spoken to in a couple weeks. Hey, how you doing? How's your grandma? Your uncle's, you said your uncle needed surgery. Is he okay? That way it's not a huge goal and all these friends and family aren't being like, where have you been, Joe? Why aren't you answering? You're doing your best to break it down into smaller bites, and you're still staying connected, and your friends and family can tell you care just by one person. Takes 3 minutes a day.
Joe, does that help as one little piece of the pie?
Yes, thank you very much.
Joe, and I'm going to stick with this because I think this is a super important issue. Any other thoughts you have on making balance? Any things that sort of come to mind that would help?
Learn to say no.
Sorry?
I have a suggestion. Learn to say no. I mean, I don't have the answer, but she says learn to say no. Is that learn to say no when people ask you to do whatever?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I think one of the most important attributes, and it's interesting because we hear that, Rotarians say yes to everything. I think it's a complete, huge mistake. We should not say yes to everything because we will do nothing. In fact, if we say yes to everything, then we're not being fair to ourselves, to our family, and even to our Rotary clubs. It's interesting, so I'm a past district governor. In fact, I took that past district governor stream on Friday, and there are 3 things in life that are going to happen if you follow the district governor path: death, taxes, and being a past district governor. You are going to be, folks, you district governor nominees, district governor elects, district governors, you're going to be a past district governor at some point. And the question in that session was, well, what do you do next? And I think it's important, and there was a list. In fact, we each put a list of stuff, and several of the past district governors said, well, I took on stuff that I didn't really want to do. Well, what are we doing? I mean, I think that one thing is we have passions for different things, all of us, and when we're asked, we need to share what our passion is. What would we like to do? Whether it's reaching out to people in our club, in our district, or even at the zone. Like, let people know what you really would like to do, Joe. And I think you're exactly spot on. Look to say no when it doesn't fit the holistic picture of what you want to do. So, I really want to thank you, and we'll continue, because with the goal, that's something that's got to be worked on. It doesn't just happen. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. That was absolutely. Now, again, thank you for all the goals you have. Like anything, you get out as much as you put in. So do fill out the workbook. Do continue with this. But I do appreciate the feedback from the individuals who shared their goals and their whys. Now let's step into this first phase of what is the gap. Okay? So the gap is where you have your goal and where you are now. And I think one thing we tend not to give ourselves credit for is a lot of the skills we already have. So look at your goal, and look at what you want to do, and then look at where you are. List down your skills, and also list some action steps that would help you get to your goal. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes and I'll get back to you.
Something that a lot of people would not say. Right.
Okay, so now let's have some different participants. Who would like to address this step? Yeah? Yes. And we'll get the mic. That's great. And if you say your name, but also say what your goal is.
Mary Cook, District 7430. So my goal is to set up a community-based Interact program, and I know my husband is rolling his eyes because I am one of those Rotarians who just can't say no. But our now is we have a group of interested students from 3 high schools. We cannot get any advisors in those high schools to step up since COVID. The advisors don't want to do this anymore. But we have a list of kids. I have their contact info. And another skill that I have is I have a Zoom account. So our goal is to create the community-based Interact with 3 of our local high schools. So my action steps are to reach out to the kids that have reached out to us, set up the Zoom, invite them, and listen to what they want to do.
And that is absolutely terrific. You've got a very clear goal, and you've got a basis already there. So this isn't like you're starting from scratch. And now you have the action steps. Do you have a timeline? Do you see in your mind, do you have a sort of a... When you get back. Yeah, that's great. That's a great timeline. Thank you so much. Who else would like to share? Right here.
Margie Haas, and I'm with District 6360. I'm the Youth Services Coordinator along with a few other hats I have. My goal is to have 90% of our clubs participate in a youth services program, okay? The gap is that I believe we have about 40 to 45%, when I find out exactly what that percentage is, participate in a youth services RILA. We have Interact. We also have the Rotary Student Program and of course Youth Exchange. So that's the goal, and there's a gap there.
So the goal's terrific. You have a very specific goal that you want to achieve, the 90%. And you are currently, am I correct, 45?
I'm believe it's around 40 to 45. Some participate in one, at least one. But we have others that don't participate in any.
And what are your action steps again? What do you want to do?
Well, first we have to identify the ones that are not participating, and then we have to start communicating with them about the youth service programs and how they can become involved in it easily. Find out what the roadblock is, why they are not.
So again, you have a clear picture of what you want to do, where you are, and even some of the action steps and obstacles that you're going to have to overcome. And I think the key there is you can communicate that to members in your club and other people that can help you with that. Is that how you see it? Because it sounds very doable. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, go ahead.
Richard Denton, District 7010. My goal is to create a culture of peace. Right now, we have our Council on Resolutions. We have a resolution before Council, number 18, which is on education about nuclear weapons. What I would like to see is Rotary become educated about this as a crisis, because my why is that if we don't create peace, then nothing else that we do will matter. So I think that where we're at now, we've got the Rotary Board to have a social responsible investing policy. And now I would like the GAP to move to having Rotary not use Bank of America, which does invest in the military quite extensively. We already have an educational program called End War 101, but the GAP is to get a whole lot more people to take that course. So I would like to see that get involved on my Rotary in the Bergen Center.
So let's dig in a little bit, because I'm looking for specifics. I hear exactly what you said about the goal, about the resolution, but you as a gap and as an action step, you have quite a specific item on education, correct?
Correct.
So let's dig into that a little bit. What needs to happen from an education point of view, specifically?
Well, we have a course already on that, but we need to get people to watch it and participate.
So you need to promote that course, correct?
Correct.
So I mean, I would, again, picking a piece of this, because it's a big subject, do you agree that would be a step to take?
Correct.
And is that something that you could take on as promoting that particular course?
Yes.
Well then, brilliant. And so we can look forward to that, right? That's excellent. We can look forward to that happening, correct? And that's what it's about, being specific. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do one more. At the back, or the corners, or...
Right here.
Hi.
Hi. So my goal is...
Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Bernadette. I'm District 7490.
Hi.
And my goal is to make sure that every one of the clubs in our district contributes a minimum of $100 to Polio Plus. I know that doesn't sound like a very big number, but we happen to have 18 clubs who've given absolutely nothing at the end of last year. So, and that's not quite half of our clubs, so that's a pretty big reach to get to half of our clubs.
So that's I'll just jump, so that's the goal, right? You want, sorry, how many clubs in the district?
About 40.
And so you had roughly half that have, right?
18 that have not.
18 that have not. So there's a very specific, it's very clear. Obviously you know the clubs who they are.
Right.
So there's your specific goal, okay? So and where you're at, like the gap, you've got, half of them are doing it.
Right, correct.
So, okay. So what's the action steps? What are you seeing that needs to happen?
So for me, I think the action step that I'm going to take is that I'm going to reach out personally to each of those 18 clubs, see if I can get on their program at a meeting to present to them, to let them understand the importance of continuing this effort until we actually eradicate polio, and make sure that I'm clear that I'm not looking for a huge amount. Most of these clubs have about 20 members, and so $100 from that club can be reached very simply with $5 per member, and just try to encourage them to make that contribution of $100 for their club.
Do it, right? I mean, basically, you've laid out a plan there. Do you have sort of a time frame that you're looking at that you'd like to roll this, roll out?
Yeah, by the end of this Rotary year.
Yeah. So again, very clear goal. You know where you're at, and you have the action steps that will take you along the way. There may be challenges along the way, obviously, right? Because but so be it. You're on a path and you have a vision, and that's huge. Okay, let's move on to planning. Now, what can I do to prepare? This is critical, and we've touched on some of it. But what can I do to improve the chances of succeeding? Okay, again, 2 minutes to add some planning pieces in there to help you achieve your goal.
Oh, no, we're talking about the Ryder Cup. What was it? Yeah, the U.S. made
Okay, so the planning piece. Who would like to offer some planning as to how they want to achieve their goal?
Go ahead. No, Stephen.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Marissa, and I'm from 7190, and my goal is to help the district become an E-rate district. So the action steps are to reach out to all the clubs, form a committee to reach out to all the clubs and their members individually, to educate them and pull some heartstrings and show them the profound impact that donating to the foundation has.
If I can just jump in there, sorry, is it your first name?
Marissa.
Marissa, so on the goal, okay, specific numbers, any figures in mind?
Just having, $1,000 per member minimum would be awesome, but I think we have to start small and just get every single person, all district members donating and educated about what the foundation does.
So there's a couple of people, and again, it's important to have that goal and why set up really in a very strong way. And so you talked about education and so on, right? So there's some pieces there. So from the planning side, what did you come up with?
So forming a committee, but not only calling those club members, club presidents, but going to present to them, making sure everyone's educated and aware, and then showing them, telling them about the Race Rotary website, showing them the Rotary Direct, different sources and methods. So if they don't have social media and Race Rotary doesn't work, they can mail a check in or have it come right out of their checking account to make it easier for them, but making sure that they're all educated first.
Yeah. So you have you have a big task. I think you can see that, but you're breaking it down into pieces, right? So from an education point of view, from contacting all the clubs and so on. And I think that's the way to go, is start to build a picture.
Absolutely. And can I just piggyback, Joe, after real quick? If anyone wants a free link for 2 free months to Marco Polo app to be more connected, come and see me after, because that'll help situations like Joe when people don't feel as connected with their family and friends.
Thank you for sharing. That is so important. Others?
I have another one right here.
Plan.
My goal would be for my club would be increase diversity. Milton is one of the most, what they call it, one of the fastest growing city in Ontario. I don't know if it still is, but it was a few years ago. We have such great people. They're growing, they're bringing their kids and children and families, very family oriented. And we have to address this. We have to do something about that. So I feel that my club will benefit and will grow membership if we are actually tapping into this. One of the things that I was thinking that we can do as a club is, I always believe that instead of waiting for people to come to you, we need to come to them. And we have a newcomer organization that supports newcomers. They're there, they're resourcing, they're looking for information, doctors and nurses and different, they're just looking for mentors and help when they come to the country. We could be part of those mentors, reach out as being mentors to them, and thereby they could learn from us and learn what we do as a Rotary Club. We can also invite them to our house, get to know them a little bit. Like you said, really developing that closeness and trust, safety, that with them. So,
so I'm just going to jump in here. So what's your first name?
Oh, sorry, my name is Abiola.
Abiola. So you bring up probably one of the key issues that we're dealing with in Rotary today. It's increasing diversity in our clubs. Is that a fair comment? Is that what your goal is?
Yes.
What you're saying? Let's try and dig into this a little bit, because I'm sure there's probably a number of participants here who have the same kind of goal. So and I don't have the answer here, but as a goal, is there certain groups to start off with that you would like to include in your specific location? Have it your club.
So when you say certain groups,
minorities, different groups who are unrepresented in your club.
Yes, I mean, we need a little bit of everyone, Asians and we need
Good afternoon, President Rotary Global Brampton, also past chair and lifetime member of Brampton Rotary Local Chamber. We're not too far from each other, and from a demographics and statistical standpoint, which she's trying to say, I think I can put it in a little bit better way through numbers. Both Milton and Brampton are basically part of the Greater Toronto area. Milton is just outside, we're part of GTA. Roughly 15,000 newcomers become part of our community every year, giving us the opportunity to create literally cities or towns the size of 158,000 people over a 10-year period. Most of those immigrants are coming from Africa or from South Asia. Now, we're all talking foundation, so let me put this also in context in foundation terms. The single largest donor to our hospital, personal, is a South Asian. He donated $10 million just last year from India. The gentleman before him, which held the record up until 2 years ago, also from South Asia, from Pakistan, donated $2.5 million to the hospital. The hospital is now doing a fundraiser, which in one evening raises over $1 million, primarily focusing on South Asian community members. We're a legacy club in Brampton. Bridging the gap between communities is not just the right thing to do, it's imperative from a financial perspective.
Thank you. And I'd like to hand back to Abiola. So building on what was just said, you had some ideas, and sharing with the group here, we've got to go to the community.
Yes.
Correct? Share with us a little bit more on how you're looking to do that.
Well, I feel that there's a lot of community, they're doing activities, events, you know, to meet their needs, to connect them. So, for example, churches. I know some people really don't think about churches. People, you know, of faith, they're very committed and they're very connected in churches. So that's a great place to go and do a, you know, a presentation, or just to give a little, you know, talk about Rotary or Midland, and just getting to know them a little bit more. And like, for example, the Italian community or other community, Caribbean community, really reaching out, just going to their events, showing interest, and showing that you know you really care about what they're doing. You want to know more about them. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And what I like is you've come up with a very specific ways of doing it. From what you've said, you can now contact people, have a plan, talk to them, right? And look at making that move to connect to them. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, now moving on to, and then the next two pieces of support and making a commitment are the key to success. So have a look, who can support you? We all need help to take these steps, and who is going to be on your team? And finally, you know, friends, family, local groups, social media. So take a couple minutes and write down who will support you. Okay? So let's now look at who will support you, okay, and who's going to be on your team. So hands up, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a coming.
Thank you.
Martin, would it be okay if I offered support for a goal that was just communicated? Because I think I have something that other people might appreciate.
This is what it's all about here today, is we support each other. So absolutely, like was done earlier, please go ahead.
All right, so for Abiola, and for anyone looking to incorporate the principles and the benefits of diversity, equity, and inclusion in their clubs and districts. And so here, I want to give a shout out to the Rotary Club of Atlantic International Passport. This is someone from this club, Martine Babineau, who's a former Assistant Public Image Coordinator, said that they wanted to do this. They're a club of 18 people. So they took the opportunity to go to festivals where newcomers to Canada are gathering, so cultural festivals. They set up a tent, they had their friendly selves there, big Rotary brand identifiers, because people coming to Canada from other countries do get Mosaic. That was the name of the festival. Do understand Rotary, will know Rotary from their home countries, and may see that Rotary membership at home is unattainable, but here is attainable. This is a huge opportunity. So they have a QR code at their booth, and you can scan it, and there was a 2-question survey, including your contact information. They also had postcards with email. They've received a ton of email already and 19 responses as of 4 days ago to their QR code. 19 responses, club of 18. Phenomenal. So we're going to share some more details. Well,
thank you so much. And again, the sharing, you know, if we get the information even shared at a broader level, I think that would be tremendous. So thank you. Who will support me? Anyone else interested to share? Who will support you? Don't be shy. Yes, over in the bar table.
Because I'm not shy. So I look at the list up here and I think all of them, like, potentially can support you. Obviously, we hope our family will support us and our friends, local groups. If we're truly reflective of our community and engaged as a Rotary Club or district in our communities, then social media, people we don't even know will be interested in support, sharing our events if it's, has impact or is one of their interests, even if they're not in Rotary. So if we are truly doing our job to be reflective, to be out in the community, to be sharing our initiatives and even our goals, we can certainly have all of the things listed and more that I can't even think of supporting us if we get out of our bubbles and out of our lunchrooms and breakfast rooms and out of our really Rotary cliques in some cases. I think that we can be much more effective and spread the wealth of Rotary in our communities.
Absolutely. Again, getting support, whether it's family, friends, is so critical. Your club or even outside groups that are going to support you is absolutely key. So I want to move on to the next item under goal setting, and it's commitment. And who will I share this with? And I would like you to do this in tables. So I want one of you to pick your goal and share it with your table, and then share, talk about who will I share this goal with? Will you keep it to yourself, just your club, or will you share it out into the community? And it will depend on the type of goal. So in your tables, just talk to each other about your goals, share what goals you're looking at, and then decide on one who will be the spokesperson as to the commitment. What are you going to commit to? Okay? Again, I'll give this 5 minutes to your group, and we'll get back.
Governor.
Already?
So you can check out now.
Okay.
We got your plug for the wire, the plug for your whatever that. Your thing.
What do you mean the plug?
The electric plug for it to run.
Where is it? Oh, did you get it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else you want to say?
Come on, you go and check out now, okay?
I'm in this session right now, but I'll go when the session's over.
Because by the session is over, then we'll be there for lunch. Are you going to be a long line up there?
I'll deal with it. Unless you want to go check out.
We'll have to continue way beyond this session. I mean, that's what we do. But what I'd like is, I want to try this. I'd like to try different things, depending on the group and so on. I'm going to pick a table, And then what I'd like is for one person in that table to talk about the goal, and then what the group talked about. So let's give this a try, okay? And we'll see where it goes, okay? So let's pick this table here. Yeah, I was sitting at this table, and I want to know what's going on here. Okay, could you say your name and your district? Okay, folks, if you could just listen up to what, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Bill Skinner. I'm from DGE from District 7410. We looked at my goal, and my goal for my Rotary year is to increase collaboration among the clubs within our district. We have a lot of clubs that are siloed. They have a scarcity mentality rather than an abundance mentality. So in our discussions here, I got some good feedback as to different things that we could be doing. One of them is to rely on our AGs. We have one AG that has his clubs doing a lot of collaborative things. Kind of use that as a model and try and tell clubs that you can accomplish more together than you can individually. We're in Northeast Pennsylvania. We don't have a dense population. We have some really rural clubs. But we have, and looking at it from a county standpoint, we may have 8 clubs in the county. Well, my goal was to try and get them working on the same thing, that we could do a county-wide project. And think what that would do for expanding reach, having impact, getting people to be aware and engage more non-Rotarians. So we had some thoughts come up here, and now we can collaborate more as a leadership team and get more people, hopefully, on the bandwagon and have more of an abundance mentality than a scarcity mentality.
Great, thank you. Bravo, well said. Well said. Okay, so let's keep going to the tables. This table here. Who's going to be the spokesperson?
So I picked a career goal. I own a video production company with my partner. And pre-pandemic, we had a really great second filmmaker that went to school for filmmaking, was trained, and all we had to do was really train him in our style of filmmaking. So in order to increase our profits and also our free time, we are bringing candidates of trying to find second filmmakers. But what our challenge is that they don't have the traditional background of video. A lot of them have, from the pandemic, have transitioned into a new career. They found video and a lot of self-learning. So my goal is to try to find a way to codify and give them the foundations of videography and also our style. And the big challenge is that it can't be done on the job site just because it's just too much time and complication. So I shared with my table, so I shared with them. And one of the solutions that they offered, which is great, is to seek out low-risk events, possibly volunteer Rotary events, to have them film, and I would train them in those situations instead of the high-paying client jobs.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much. Let's keep going. That table over there. Yeah? What'd you come up with?
Good afternoon. So my goal was specifically as a former governor and as a multilingual person to get more involved with Latin Hispanic clubs around the world. My district government project was in Puerto Rico, so I'm going there in a week, so I have my action plan in place to follow up on my grant. And network with other clubs on the island, as especially with all the climate shift, no matter what side of politics you're on, those islands are getting hit seemingly more and more, to set up a network of potential liaisons where around the world people could do global grants with the island. Did I answer what I was supposed to answer?
You're doing very well. What did your group say? What did they want to, what did they come up with?
For themselves?
For, like, to help with what you do?
They loved it.
They loved it, good. That's good.
But just to keep, you know, as we all say, not to forget about keep following up with it. Because it's easy to put it down and get sidetracked with a million other things. So just to keep going and not sort of have spurts, just to keep having lists, check the lists and lists off of things as you do it, and so forth. But
and we also agreed that we should have like a team to work with and make sure that we're delegating the authority for this, so it doesn't just fall to Tari as her goal, but it becomes a group goal.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot. Let's go to the very back here.
Hi there. I'm Barbara Webb and I'm with District 5040. I reside on the Sunshine Coast in BC, Canada. I have a personal goal that I've been kind of working on for a little over a year now, and now I'm seeing that we can probably, hopefully, make this a Rotary International goal to change the acronym DEI to IDEA: inclusivity, diversity, equity, accessibility. Access is present in DEI, definitely, but accessibility, in my opinion, is not. And we're suffering issues from this all the time. And I think that if we collectively use our beingness as Rotarians, use our beingness through the four-way test that I talked about yesterday in my presentation as a public image coordinator under Mary Lou's direction. We talked a lot about what it means with the four-way test and how to be a Rotarian. And I think that accessibility needs to be included in the DEI spectrum. It's not covered in that. So I have just one more person in my, he's our district governor-elect, Drew Antrobus, and he just wants to say a few words about this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's come to light, especially in my district, that you're talking about diversity. And this is something I am going to raise at IA when I get down there, because through Rotary's objective of getting members, what they have done is they have created specialty clubs. And fortunately, we have increased membership, but we have a Korean club, a Chinese club, a Filipino club, and the problem being is they're not as diverse. They are not as diverse since they're strictly specific to that nationality, as well as they're not as equitable because it's tough to get into the clubs themselves. We had a problem with the Chinese club actually trying to get in and have our past DG meet with them to do his DG visits. So the problem being is Rotary has created these specialties, but they're not as inclusive as Rotary is making out. So we've got to change that to make them more inclusive, at least so the DG can come in and make his visits.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Did you have a comment?
Hello, I'm Wayne Jacobson from District 5550, Neepawa, Manitoba, Canada, right in the heartbeat. I come from a community that's about 6,000 people, and for 125 years it was white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. We have a food processing plant in our community that grew from 250 employees to 1,800 employees in about 5 or 6 years. Now this plant is half owned by a Japanese company and half owned by a company from Thailand. About 1,000 of those new employees are immigrant Filipino people and their families. We've struggled, our club is the Romeo without the R. And our median age is probably 65. We have very few young people coming in. So what my goal is to establish a satellite club within the plant. And I guess what's in it for everyone, both for the plant management, obviously attrition is a significant issue for them. They're constantly recruiting and bringing people in from the Philippines. Well, if you give people the opportunity of engaging in the community and making that community their community, I'm going to suggest to them that there's a less likelihood of attrition. What's in it for the Filipino community is they have the opportunity of having a say in what our community looks like. So if we have the satellite club that's actually in the plant, and management, well, I'll just say the plant operates on 2 shifts, 7 to 3, 3 to 11. So if the plant were to invest 1 hour of time, 2:30 to 3:30, once a month, to allow their employees to meet and become Rotarians, then not only can they work on projects within our community, but of course they could look at somewhere down the road some kind of global grant to impact communities in the Philippines. And I think the beauty of the idea is that it's totally replicable. In any community that has a significant employer, I think there's a win-win-win situation.
Great, thank you. Again, just different ideas on how to make Rotary live in your community. So I want to move on to just a quick case study. So this is an individual who wanted to run a marathon. Full transparency is me. So the stretch was I was challenged to run a marathon, but the issue was I was a non-runner. I was 47 years old. I had weak ankles and I was overweight. So there was a big gap, a pretty big gap. The planning was I joined a running club and bought good shoes. I got support from my fellow runners, my work colleagues, and my kids. And the commitment, because it was sibling rivalry, the rest of the family knew about the challenge, so I couldn't hide and not do it. So, you know, that was kind of how it was set up. Now, I'm going to move through the next couple items a little quicker. Normally this is a little longer workshop, but I want to talk about a couple of things. One is measurement. So that's something, I think that's critical. Something when you look at your goal, think about ways of measuring your progress. Okay? So we'll leave that for a minute. But I do want to go to communications. And what I would like is, I would like each table to talk about how they would communicate what they want to do. I feel in Rotary, boy, it's a tough area. It's a tough area of how do we communicate? We're told we have too many emails, and yet we don't seem to be able to communicate in the best way. I'm not particularly versed on social media, but that's something that has to happen. So, again, in your tables, 5 minutes, pick maybe the goal you had, and give me, share with the group how you're going to communicate that. So 5 minutes.